What's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, back in the house with another divisional review. And today we take over the AFC East and we'll be breaking down that division. But before we get started, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure you check out the playlist that includes all of the other divisional reviews that I've done so far. Today, we're going to be wrapping up the AFC conference as a whole, and we'll be moving on to the NFC before the season starts. So let's just get straight into it. Let's talk about first and foremost the reigning champs, the Buffalo Bills, looking to kind of, well, they already got a stranglehold on this division. Now, it was a close race last year between them and the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins kind of started just crazy out the gates, right? And then kind of had a slump towards the end of the season, and then the Buffalo Bills were able to pick up a couple key victories and win the division. Now, if we look at the roster overall, there's been a lot of turnover. Some notable key players have been gone or have left the team. Not to mention Stephon Diggs is gone. He's now in the AFC South with the Houston Texans. We got Tre'Davious White, who's also gone on the back end of that defense, as well as one of the safeties in Poyer. Now, some other guys, some key notable guys too, but for the most part, those are some really key guys. However, though, I think Josh Allen, for me, is going to be the catalyst, which he should be. He's what makes this team go. I mean, at the end of the day. Now, I think this team is pretty well coached for the most part. I think they're going to be a little bit more well balanced this year. I think James Cook is going to have a really, really good season at the running back position there. But I think they're going to run the ball a little bit more and maybe try to take the air out of the ball there. But doesn't mean that Josh Allen can't get the job done. I think the thing with Josh Allen is that he plays in the AFC East, or excuse me, the AFC conference overall, and there's a guy over there in Kansas City that plays at Arrowhead named Patrick Mahomes, right? That's the standard, right? Especially if you're in the same conference and you're battling this guy year in and year out, whether it's a regular season matchup or a postseason matchup, and that's kind of what your legacy is based on: is have you beaten this guy, and have you beaten this guy when it counts? And for me, I think Josh Allen, considering where he was drafted and his value coming into that draft the year he was drafted, it wasn't really that high. He was kind of like a boom or bust type of player. And for sure, in his last couple seasons since he's been in the National Football League, it's been a boom type of career for him. I think he's ready to take that next step. I think he wants to win. Oh, I mean, not to say he doesn't want to win a championship. I think he's there. I think he's close enough. The pieces that are missing, I don't think it'll be that much of a drop off for them. Sean McDermott has done a really good job with this team up until this point, and they just haven't been able to get over that hurdle, right? Whether it's losing to the Chiefs or the Bengals somewhere down the line there. So, but I think this year for me, where as far as the division is concerned, this team is still one of the top teams in this division. It's theirs to lose at the end of the day, but we'll go over my predictions later on. As far as wins are concerned for this team, they're anywhere between 11 and 13 wins. I think they can get the job done. This is a very good team still. Josh Allen is still a very good player. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks, if not one of the top 3 or top 2 quarterbacks in all of the National Football League. And with that said, that goes without saying, that carries a lot of weight, right? Obviously, if you have one of the better quarterbacks in this league, it's going to take you some places. And Josh Allen is definitely one of those guys that's at the top of that list in his position. So we'll have to wait and see. So, all right, moving on. Probably a dumpster fire. Probably the team that's probably going to win the top pick next year. That's the New England Patriots, right? Huge turnover, new head coach. Bill Belichick is gone, right? Entered Coach Mayo here. No really head coach experience, not even really any experience calling defensive plays, right? So that's going to be kind of a head scratcher for me. And the rest of his staff are guys that have never either even called plays from a defensive or offensive side of things in the National Football League. So the coaching staff there is a little questionable there, right? Then you literally get rid of your best defensive player, probably your best player on the team, and Matthew Judon. He's gone. He's in Atlanta now. And then you go ahead and draft Drake May. Now, Drake May, I think, does have some skills. I really think he does. However, though, this team is not in a situation to win now. It's sad to say, after having 2 decades of success, now the Patriots have fallen and they have fallen fast. And if you're a Patriots fan, you got to go into the season just kind of somewhat optimistic in the fact that you want to see what maybe Drake May will do when he's given that opportunity. However, though, that opportunity should not be soon. this roster is not good at all. Offensively, I don't even know who their best guy is. KJ Osborne, maybe. I don't even know. Um, Defense should be okay. Decent, right? Because that's what New England does. They usually play solid defense, but it's not enough to sustain multiple victories in the National Football League. And then what you don't want to do is rush Drake May out into this situation where he's literally throwing to nobody, right? Now, I think they went ahead and tried to draft some guys in this last draft, but I don't know if any of those guys are going to be proven number one targets for Drake May. And you don't want to rush this kid out there literally to nobody to throw to. And then just kind of pretty much ruin his career, ruin his psyche, his mentals, and he'll never be able to recover from that. So I would definitely put all my chips in on Jacoby Brissett starting. But I would, at some point, you got to have to see Drake May. Now, I'm usually a guy that thinks that quarterbacks should start early and often. That's my thing, right? I believe with the resources that these guys have nowadays, the many starts these guys have in college, playing 4, 5, 6 years maybe in college, depending on the rules. NIL, so they're making money, so they know how to manage that. I'm all for guys playing out the chute. But in this situation, I don't think so, because what Drake May has to play with it's not a lot. Now, if he went to a different situation, man, like the Chicago, okay, they're loaded. They're ready to go now, right? Hell, even the Commanders are a better roster than the New England Patriots at this point. And, you look at Jalen Daniels, and we'll talk about them probably in my next video in the NFC East. But, I mean, literally, this guy has nowhere to go. And this team is going to be probably the worst team in all of the National Football League. So as far as wins are concerned, this is probably a 2 to 4 win team. And I'm kind of be more bullish on the 2 wins. This team is not going to be good at all. So we'll have to wait and see. So Patriots fans, you had your run. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got your fill, because it's probably going to be like this the next couple of years or so. If not, I can't see them being any good in the foreseeable future. And I don't think Mayo's going to be there too long anyway as a head coach. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. Moving along, we're going to kind of go down to the New York area. We're going to talk about the Jets, the Jets. A lot of distractions coming from this camp. Of course, Aaron Rodgers last year, what he was doing, God knows what he was doing. And then, some of the antics he has this year. This team, to me, kind of like the Jacksonville Jaguars, I talked about in my last video about the AFC South, a lot of pressure. And their pressure is a little different, right? Because Aaron Rodgers is 40, coming off a torn Achilles, right? Is he that same guy? I don't think so. I mean, age will tell you that, when you hit 40, and I just hit 40, right? Earlier this year, things are creeping up on you. Now, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers isn't talented or wasn't talented at all. Of course, he's one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen come across this league or come through this league. The things that he was able to do off platform, off timing, one of the best, if not the best ever, right? You see a lot of guys doing it now, like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, right? A list of quarterbacks that kind of imitate or replicate what Aaron Rodgers has done. Now, with an Achilles, you're 40. Does he still have that mobility? Can he still maneuver out the pocket? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Getting Tyron Smith from the Cowboys was a huge get for them, especially to shore up that offensive line at left tackle. But the problem is with Tyron Smith, the brother only plays about 4 to 5 games a year, and that's about it. Now, in those 4 or 5 games, he's going to give you his best. Like he's not going to give up any pressures. He's going to protect your quarterback, but the problem is he won't be available the whole year. And when you got a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles, mobility is going to be a question, and you're going to need your left tackle to be strong. And they got some other questions on the line. I know Vera Tucker, also a solid offensive lineman, but still injured all the time. So they do have a cast of really talented offensive skill guys. Wilson, Breece Hall, they can get the job done there for the most part. Defense is still pretty good. I like their front four. But coaching too. I mean, there's another thing. Robert Saleh going into his 4th year. I feel like he's on a hot seat as well. I think, to me, from my opinion, from the outside looking in, and I'm not a Jets fan. I don't follow them that closely, but from some of the interviews I see, he kind of feels like he's trapped. He's stuck there. And in regards to, well, it's really not his team anymore. It's Aaron Rodgers' team. So they will go as far as Aaron Rodgers will take them, which, of course, that's how it usually is when you have a quarterback. But when you have a quarterback, a future Hall of Famer like they do in Aaron Rodgers, of course, he is going to take a lot of the limelight off the head coach. And this guy really hasn't done much since being named the head coach 3 seasons ago from the San Francisco 49ers staff and Kyle Shanahan. So, and then the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, we saw his exploits in Denver. And really, what has he done here in New York? Now, we all know why he's there, right? Because that's Aaron Rodgers' guy. Now, do we believe Nathaniel Hackett is that great of a play caller? I really hadn't seen it yet. But again, what Rodgers played like 4 plays last year. So we'll have to wait and see. But there's a lot of questions coming from this team and a lot of pressure because, number one, you're in New York. There's no bigger media market out there than New York, and you're playing for the Jets in what's predominantly a giant city, right? I don't live in New York, but from what I gather, reading the clippings, watching videos, talking to friends and family that are from the New York area, it's a Giants kind of town, right? And so the Giants are down. Obviously, they've been down, right? But the Jets are kind of on this precipice of being a really good team. But there's a lot of, well, this needs to happen, or if this happens, or that, or this. So when you talk about pressure, definitely they have a lot of pressure to live up to these expectations. So we'll have to wait and see with them. So, all right. Final team, a team that really caught headlines early in the season, very exciting team to watch, and that's the Miami Dolphins. They also have some pressure on them. Why? Because you paid your quarterback Tua. Now, a lot of people would disagree with the contract that this young man got. Listen, if they want to pay the guy what they want to pay him, let them do it. It is what it is. It ain't coming out my pocket or my bank account. But it's kind of a reach, but I guess that's what the going rate for a quarterback is. Now, the Dolphins, like I said before, started off the season hot and heavy. MVP talks for Tyreek Hill. Even Tua was getting in there, right? With the fastest team out there as far as wide receivers are concerned between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. What's not to like, right? But the end of the season happened and they pretty much just faltered, right? They stumbled into the playoffs. And they just got pretty much boat raced in the wild card round. So, this team really, they have a lot of talent. Probably the most talented team in this division, hands down, right? But do they have that mental status or that state to get through the tough part of the year, which is going to be the end? And this is a warm weather team, right? And it's funny, I looked up a stat the other day and I saw that like Tua is like super below 500. I think he's like 2-6, something crazy where it's below 500, where he's below 500 when it's like 40 degrees and below or something like that. So basically, when you're going to Arrowhead in January or Buffalo, if you got to go play a playoff game there late January, early February, whatever the case may be, you're going to lose that game. I mean, it's simple as that. And that happened to them last year. Like when they went to Arrowhead, did anyone really give them a chance of winning that game? Right? No, because it's cold. Right now, they're going to start great because the season starts in September, right? For them, they're going to look great. It's a little warm, right? They're going to get a lot of good games at home where it's still warm. But my thing for them is when it comes down to those colder months, when we get into December, January, right? When you're getting ready to start the playoffs, will they be able to handle that? I like their coach. I like Mike McDaniel. I like their offensive scheme. I like a lot of things about them. But for me, I just don't know. Are they ready yet to take that jump? And is Tua ready? Like Tua's limited. We all know that. He's not the biggest guy, doesn't have the greatest arm, not very athletic. So he can't overpower or do things to get through those cold weather months, especially he has to go on the road. So their best bet is to secure home field advantage and let people come down to Miami, right? So they're going to have to finish strong. But you look at the end of their schedule, they got some places they got to go and play in some places that are pretty cold. I believe they got Green Bay on the road, and I could be wrong, but I know they got Green Bay. I know they're going to have to go play the Jets at some point towards the end of the season. It's going to be cold, right? And I know they got the Texans, which is going to be indoors, but still, that's a good team, right? So the Dolphins really have a lot to prove. Could they win this division? Yeah, they could. They should have won it last year, but they didn't, right? So will they be able to learn from their mistakes from last season? I know they had some injuries down the stretch too, but that's just life in the National Football League. A lot of teams are hurt towards the end of the year, so we'll have to wait and see with them. But I think they have what it takes to win the division. But again, like I mentioned before, there are some question marks there. So, all right, before we get out of here, here are my predictions for this division. I still like the Buffalo Bills. I still think they're the most mature team in the division. They got the best quarterback in the division. So that for me, that's brownie points off the bat. Miami Dolphins, I think they're right there. Like I said before a couple seconds ago, they should have won a division last year. They were in position, even hell, in the last game of the year, if I'm not mistaken. They lost that game at home to Buffalo. But very talented team. Tua is going to have to take that next step. He's going to have to win because why? You paid him. And people always get on me for this. Oh, why are you mad? He's getting his money. It's not about the money, but when you pay people a certain amount of dollars, you expect a certain amount of results. And let's just start with them. Just win the damn division. Okay, win the division first, and then we'll talk. But you pay them, you got to win something right at that point. All right. Then I got the Jets. I think for them, it's going to be simple. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be able to stay upright at the end of the day? Is he going to be able to stay upright? This team, and I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but this team for me, I believe is a 7-9 win team. Even with Aaron Rodgers, I think they still have a lot of question marks. I don't think he'll be as good. And I forgot this earlier too with the Dolphins as far as wins and predictions. I think this is about a 11-13 win team. I really do. So we'll see. And then finally, to round out the team, the AFC division predictions, the New England Patriots are going to finish dead last. Nothing excited to talk about here. Nothing to see here. Let's move it along. They really have no talent. They traded away their best guy to the Falcons, or he's gone. So not much to look forward to them. So there you have it. We got the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. Wow, have the mighty have fallen for them. So, but there you have it, the AFC East predictions. That wraps up the AFC conference overall. If you want to check out the other videos, make sure you go over to the playlist where it says divisional previews. You guys don't want to miss out on that. And maybe I'll come back next week with maybe next week or earlier sometime, maybe later on this week with a new video to start off the NFC conference. So you guys don't want to miss out on that. So that's all the time I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys, again, like and subscribe and drop some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. So until next time, this is your boy Clutch Sports Talk. Never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.